Hey, and welcome to Teags Talks. I'm Tegan, a wellness enthusiast, conscious creator, and life learner, where we talk all things well-being, spirituality, lifestyle, and mindset. I give you an inside look at my brain, my habits, and the life I live, so together we can live our dream lives. Here we are a community of loving souls wanting to live incredible lives and feel wildly good doing it. Join me every week as I download the next potty of goodness.
Hello, my lovely souls, and welcome back to Teags Talks. Today I am recording from home. If you're here on YouTube, yes, I'm in the same jumper I've been wearing since I bought it. If you're curious about it, it's called Salty Aura. They're an Aussie brand, really cool couple. They do lots of cool, consciously created items. You probably know them from their rugs or their Instagram from traveling. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm so grateful you are here. Today is going to be all about rebuilding and reigniting my inner fire after a holiday. If you follow me on socials, you'll know where I've been. I've been in New Zealand for a week and I am back and I'm feeling really inspired and motivated, and I want to share that with you today. So I've got my notes here again so I don't lose focus. If you see me looking down, I'm making sure I'm staying on track. Basically, today is just going to be a bit of a riff rather than like a learning or a teaching or some tips or whatever that I usually share. It's just going to be a bit of a riff about things that I'm realizing, what I'm seeing within myself, and I just want to basically spin a yarn with you guys and, have you guys message me and we can riff together in my DMs or whatever. Today, I basically just want to talk about how holidays bring me so much clarity and motivation, and having time away from your normal everyday life and what this brings for me. And I've spoken to so many people over all the years of my traveling that everyone feels this, that when you go away from your normal life, you just get this like fresh start, this restart, this reigniting of your fire within. So come with me on this riff today and we can dive into today's topic. But first, as we always do, let's do some breath work. We're going to do 3 deep breaths. And I'm finally pretty, if you listen to the week before's podcast, I was quite sick. So I'm feeling a lot better this week. I still have a bit of a tickly throat and it's a little bit snotty, but I'm way better than I was. So I'm feeling a lot better. So let's dive into our 3 deep breaths. So we're just going to take 3 normal breaths in or out through the nostrils, whatever is available to you. Keep your eyes open if you are driving or walking, or if you need. If you are at home and you have a quick moment just to sit down and take 3 deep breaths with us, let's do that together. So nice, conscious, deep breath in through the nostrils if you can, breathing down into the belly, and exhale out the mouth if you have that available to you. Deep breath in. And deep exhale out. Last one, inhale in. And exhale. Oh, I swear I say this every time, but I just love breath work so much. Literally 3 breaths and I feel calm. I'm assuming you feel the same. So let's dive into a little bit of a life update. Now, I have had a wild week in New Zealand and we got back day before yesterday. I didn't do a podcast last week. I was honestly just in the midst of traveling and spending time with friends, and I honestly just wanted to be really present with them. So we didn't get a podcast last week, but I am here for the full update this week. So Zach got home on it was like a Saturday. I think we got home Saturday and then we left on the Tuesday evening, and I had my work up at Gympie on Tuesday, and then that evening we drove down to Brisbane because that's where the good flight deal was from. We drove down to Brisbane, parked the car, and then jumped on a flight at like 11:30, and it was delayed as well. Typical Jetstar. I'm allowed to say that. I think everyone knows. So yeah, we got on the flight. I tried so hard to fall asleep. I honestly really struggle to fall asleep on planes. I don't know if anyone else is the same. I even had the window seat. Zach was in the middle. And as soon as we got onto the plane, I was like, right, I put my eye mask on. I had my headphones in. I was super cozy, like had my fluffy jumper. I had socks on. Like I was making sure that I was like warm, cozy, and like ready for sleep. And I was so tired, but like also, the excitement of getting there. But I literally meditated as soon as we got on the plane, and I'd finished my meditation before we had even taken off. And then I just kind of refused to open my eyes because I thought if I open my eyes, I'll stimulate myself. I don't need to do that. So I literally just kept my eyes closed for 2.5 hours and tried so hard to go to sleep. And then we landed in their time, like 4:30 a.m., I think. So we landed and we had to wait a little bit to go and get our vehicle. Now, if you followed along on Instagram, you know that we got a Winnebago, and it was so fun. And honestly, when Zach first told me that he booked it, I was a little bit like skeptical. I'm like, I don't know, like we could have got really cool Airbnbs or whatever. But the thing is, when you get a Winnebago, you get your vehicle and your accommodation in the price of one, and it's all there with you the entire time. You don't have to pack up. You can move around. You have the toilet if you need to go to the toilet on the road. Like, it was honestly amazing, and I would literally do the exact same thing next time. So we went and we got the Winnebago, got the whole rundown. I was really nervous to drive it because these things are like as wide as the road, and I can't remember how long it was, but it was super, super long. And if you've been in New Zealand or you are a Kiwi, you know the roads are so windy. So I was really nervous to drive it, but I did end up driving quite a little bit. So not as much as Zach. I definitely can't take the blame. Take the, what I'm trying to say. I literally probably drove 4 hours. So yeah, we got the Winnebago, and first things first, we sort of like, we basically arrived at 4:30 a.m. and we only had 6 days. So we had to maximize all the time that we had. And Zach had literally written out a itinerary, which is usually what I do, but he has done it. And I was super excited to see what he had planned because usually I'm the planner. So that was really awesome for me to kind of go along on one of his little journeys and for him to be in control rather than me having to plan everything. So the first thing we did is we drove to, now I'm probably going to butcher the names of these, so I'm really sorry to all my Kiwi listeners. So we went to Omanawa Falls, and we did the hike there. That was really cool. And honestly, we had to have a sleep before we even got there because we were just both exhausted, both couldn't drive. And when we got there, it was really nice to then move our bodies because I had driven to work, which is an hour and a half. I'd sat for probably 2 hours through consult, drove an hour and a half home, then drove an hour 40 to the airport, sat on the aeroplane for 3 hours, plus maybe 3.5 hours, and then sat in the car on the way to Omanawa, which was, I think, 2 hours from Auckland. So I'd done so much sitting. I was like ready to move my body, and I was so sick as well, like super snotty and couldn't breathe. And at Omanawa Falls, it's basically like, well, it's like a mountain and then you go up and down and it's like so many stairs, but it was so fun. Like Omanawa is basically just this big waterfall that you have you sort of look out to, you can't swim there, but it was beautiful. It was such a great first spot to stop in New Zealand and just our first little taste tester. So we did that, and then we drove to Mount Maunganui, and we wanted to hike there, but it was raining. And then we were thinking, oh, we could do one of the thermal pools, and we didn't really have like a set plan, so things were kind of like a bit scattered. So then we ended up going, is that where we did a really nice dinner? It's all blurred into one. Anyway, we had dinner, and we went and camped, and we camped close to the mount because we wanted to hike it in the morning for sunrise. Then when we woke up, it was like pouring rain, super cold, and then we ended up sort of going a little bit later in the day, which was nice anyway. And the view over Mount Maunganui was so beautiful, and just another like great like taste tester of New Zealand, what it has to offer. So we did that hike, and then we had breakfast there and kind of looked around. The surf wasn't happening there. Definitely wasn't quite the right winds. People were surfing, but it was like mush, so we moved on. Then we drove down to Rotorua and we went to the Wairiki spa experience, and we did I think it's revival, or it's some sort of experience, and it goes for 2 hours, and that was so awesome. Like, she welcomed us and did like a karakia, and then you go through this like shower, there's like 6 different showers that you kind of walk through, and they're different pressures, different temperatures. And then after that, you then go into 3 different saunas, and in between each sauna, you do like an ice section as well. And then after the 3 saunas, then you go into the thermal pools. And I think there's like 4 or 5 thermal pools, a aromatherapy pool, and then in between each of them, you go into the ice bath as well. And it was good because the ice bath was like 12 degrees, I think. So that's good for me, and especially because I was coming into the fact of having my period. So I was a little bit more sensitive, and I don't really like to do the freezing cold ice baths as a woman. I just feel like it's not great for my nervous system. So that was great that I could do it. The aromatherapy one was definitely my favorite, because if you haven't done the thermal pools or the thermal springs, they smell of sulfur, which I don't like. It smells like basically egg or like fart. So once we were down there, then we went into the mud experience. So you basically put this mud all over your body, and it's got like essential oils through it, and it smells delicious. Like, it doesn't smell like sulfur, which I was a bit worried about. You sit there for 15 or 20 minutes and you let it dry, and then you wash it off, and that's then the end of it. Oh no. And then after that, you jump into the steam room, and you sit there, and I think what you're meant to do is let it all absorb into your pores as they open, and then you rinse yourself off, and then you're done, and then you go have a shower. And the showers were just like, everything was so luxurious. It was so nice. Like, if you are going to Rotorua, I would highly recommend the Wairiki experience. And if I'm mispronouncing these, I'm actually going to put the links and everything into the description, because I'm sure I'm butchering the names of them. So after the spa, then we jumped in the car and we went down to Makarori, which is just outside of Gisborne. I have been saying that the whole time. We went down to Gisborne and we parked at Makarori and stayed there the night. Awesome free camping in New Zealand as well. We stayed in some really cool spots. Makarori is like beautiful, but the forestry trucks, like the logging trucks, go past like from really early in the morning, and you're right beside the road, and it's probably like 80 or 100 kilometers per hour. So they are flying past. So every time I would hear one in the morning, I'd like wake up so stressed, thinking it's going to hit us or run off the road, or it was a bit stressful, but like beautiful, just not so amazing for the nervous system. We opened the motorhome's doors, and it was firing out the front. It was way too big for me to surf, and just like, I'm not super confident in going out in a new spot, like I spoke about in the last podcast, but I'm definitely not one to push myself into surf in a new spot in big waves. I'm just not going to have a good time. It also has like rocks there in the water that are a little bit sketchy. So I was like, I'm definitely not going to go out. I'll just be on the camera. So I went for a morning walk. It was amazing. Like, behind the beach is like these massive mountains, and like they are littered with cows and sheep. It's really, really pretty. And I just walked along the beach, like watched all the people walking their dogs, and then took a few photos, came back, and then I just sat up on the watch point where we parked the car and just was trying to take photos. But the lens that I have on my camera, it's good for long distance, but I can't see the details until they're on the laptop. So I don't really know who I'm taking photos of. And this is kind of a common thing. And if you are a partner of a surfer, like, you know what I'm about to say, you're always trying to get the shot for them, right? Like, everyone loves a photo of them surfing. I don't even have a photo of me surfing. Like, no one's ever taken a photo of me surfing. Or like, I'm always surfing with the people that would probably take the photos, where I'm, it's often too big, so I will just be on the lens. Anyway, so I'm trying to like find Zach amongst the 15 people that were out there. And I know that he's got a hood on and he's got booties. So I'm searching for where he is, and I take a photo, then I zoom in, I'm like, oh, that's not even close to him, or oh, he wasn't even in booties, or oh, that wasn't like a hood, it was his hair. And then I was looking at one of the photos and it was a girl. I'm like, oh God, I'm terrible at this. So basically, like, I'm trying so hard to get photos, and I was also like there speaking to people at the beach. So I was trying to like do two things at once. Like, I really wanted to get Zach like the photo, of the trip, but also like trying to make friends. And basically, I'm chatting along, taking photos. And then I'm like, I don't think I've got any photos of him. And I'm literally mid taking photos. And Zach's like, hey there. And he pulls up and he's like, literally like walked up behind me. I'm like, oh shit, I really didn't photos of him. So don't worry. When we get to a later spot, I make up for my loss. So that was really cool to see Makarori, and it was beautiful there. And they have like a point break as well, which was working really well, which I feel like I probably could have gotten waves up there, like in this little section. And anyway, it's so fun. I surf later on. So Zach went for a surf, and then we basically made our way down to Mahia, where our friends have a batch, which is a holiday house. And we drove all the way down there. And then as we got there, they were out surfing on this point called Point Annihilation. And again, it was a bit too big for me. And it was also late in the afternoon, so it was cold. And I was just not keen to go and get in the water. So I thought I'd save myself for the morning. So Zach went out for a surf, and this is where I redeemed myself. I got all of his waves on camera. Like, he was quite stoked, and our friend that we stayed with as well got some cool photos of him. So redeemed my photography skills. So when we got to Mahia, I was like instantly in love. It just has the coziest energy. And the people that we stayed with, our friends, we actually met them in Indonesia last year in October. I think we were there. We literally hung out with them for like 4 or 5 days, and we just kind of like kept in contact. So they are the most beautiful people, and they're like the greatest hosts, and they're just the loveliest. So I can't wait to go back and see them again. And when we got there, we sort of just like sat around, had like this massive, amazing like food platter. And then we went for a drive on the back of the four-wheeler. I don't really know what it's called, but we went for a ride down the beach, and then we did a little hike at that little mountain there. I can't remember what it's called. But it was the most beautiful view, and I was just walking up and like taking it all in and just being like, wow, like what a spot. I could definitely live here. Which is funny because I was thinking that, and then like a few days later, I posted the photos of where we were, and my little sister messaged me saying, why does this feel like the video that I took of Mahia, like the scanning the bay? She replied and said, why do I see this as your next 12 months? And I was like, funny you say that. I do think New Zealand's probably too cold for me, because I really struggle in the cold. Like, I don't know, it's just my body type. But I definitely could live down there or somewhere in the spots we went to. So we did the hike, we came back down, and then we had this delicious dinner that my friend Nikki made, and it was just such a wholesome night. We had just had such beautiful chats about everything, literally everything you think of, we spoke about. And then we played this game, Monica. If you've played it, you know it's hilarious. And we played that for a couple of rounds, and it was just so funny. And basically it's like categories / that other acting out game. But yeah, it was super fun. If you need a new card game, get Monica. So then the next morning we woke up nice and early, and we had to go do the Mahia shuffle. Apparently you just drive around and figure out where the wind is good and where it's working. And we drove around, and I was just falling more and more in love with this place. Honestly, it's the coziest place. It's super small. There's nothing there, like just my type of place. And we eventually found this teeny tiny little wave that was barely breaking but was breaking. And I got the courage up and put my suit on, my hood on, and my booties on. We went out for a surf, and it was so much fun. I was really cold because I was trying to stay on top of my board. Like, I didn't want to get like put under because my hood and my neck of my suit didn't quite like overlap. They did, but not like watertight. So if my head went under, the water would go through. And so I just tried to not get dunked, tried to not go under, which I actually did really well at. And because we borrowed our friends' longboards, because we took our shortboards, but this wave was like only longboardable. And yeah, it was really, really fun. Like, I just said to myself, right, I've got to get 2 waves and then I'm allowed to get out because it was so cold. And Zach's like, no, you've got to get 3 waves. I'm like, 3 waves and then I'm allowed to get out. And then when I got out, like, my hands were red. Like, they were so cold and like just paddling, like, oh, it was like icy cold. And then, yeah, the first 2 waves, I was figuring out how to ride the board because it was a 9-foot and I don't ride, like, I have Zach's 8-foot that I ride, but that's the biggest board that I really ride. And yeah, and also just figuring out the wave because it wasn't like fully breaking. Well, it was, but you just had to take off in like the whitewash and then sort of move on the wave. Anyway, so the first 2 waves were me figuring out how to stand, where to stand on this longboard, and then figuring out the wave. And then I got 5 waves. So then those ones were like amazing and it was so good. But one of them I fell like it kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but basically I fell off and the whitewash went over me. And it was so cold that it like took my breath away. And then as I came up and like spun my board around, started paddling back out, this other wave came and I had to kind of like, what do you call it? Turtle roll. And it's just all this cold water was going into the back of my neck, top of my upper back. And it was so cold. It honestly took my breath away. And Zach came over, he's like, are you all good? I'm like, I'm so cold. Like, I couldn't like talk. My hands were so cold. Like, literally just trying to move my arms to paddle. Like, I was so cold. It just had like kind of shocked me because it hadn't even gotten to my whole body. It was just like this shock of cold water. Anyway, it was fine. It was so much fun. So we surfed there at Mahia. I actually don't know the wave break that we surfed, but it was so much fun. So after we surfed, we headed back to the beach, had a shower, had brekkie, and then we headed up to Teawanga. Is that how I say it? Teawanga. Oh my God, they're going to kill me for how I said this, but we went up there. That's where they actually lived. And we went and took the motorbikes up the beach. And I was so nervous because Zach hadn't ridden a bike on the beach, I don't think ever. And he hadn't ridden a motorbike in years. So I was super nervous because on the back, you just can't do anything. And I'm such a control freak is what I'm really learning. And yeah, I was super nervous. And you're just driving along these rocks and pebbles and it's so unstable. And it was so scary, but it was so fun. It was so beautiful. Like, it was just the best. So we cruised along there and just kind of like looked at the scene. And yeah, our friends were just showing us where some waves were and other things to do there. And then we headed back to the house. And yeah, in the afternoon, we drove up to Te Mata Peak. And it was so cold up there. I wonder how many times I've said cold in this podcast. Yeah, it was freezing at the top. The wind was like icy poles and I literally was wearing like 5 or 6 layers and in my friend's coat. I was so cold. I did not have the right clothing for this holiday. And yeah, that was beautiful up there. Then we headed out for dinner, Napier. We went for dinner in Napier and that was delicious. And then we went out to a different place for dessert. And Napier is such a beautiful, like quirky little town or city, whatever it's called. So it was cool to just kind of like walk around and see Napier. Then we stayed that night with our friends again. And then in the morning we drove up to Lake Taupo. Again, I'm probably butchering how you say these things. And we went to see the falls there and you do like the walk around the falls. And then we went to another outdoor thermal pools, which was beautiful. but not nearly on the same level as the one that we went to in Rotorua. Yeah, Rotorua. And the showers and facilities were just not nearly as good. So I'm not going to recommend that one. But it was just cool because they had like 40-degree pool, which was great. And then like 3 other pools. And it's outdoors and it's like quite a natural sort of scene. So that was beautiful, but not anywhere near the same scale as the first one that we went to. Then after that, Zach convinced me. He was trying to convince me the whole trip and I just wasn't into it because 1, I thought it would be cold. 2, I thought it was a bit too touristy. And 3, I was like, I'm just not into it. Anyway, it was so much fun. I'm so glad. So we went jet boating. Basically, we jump on this jet boat and they take you up to the waterfall. But in amongst all of it, they are like doing these like massive circles, like drenching everyone that's in the front. And it was so fast. And he would get so close to the walls and to anything that was poking out of the water. And it was actually really fun. So I would probably actually recommend to do that. I wouldn't do it again, but like it was awesome to have done. And yeah, Zach is all about that adrenaline stuff where I'm just not. I'm like, I'd rather just go to the pool or like go get a matcha or sit and read my book. So boring, but like, yeah, I'm so glad that we did it. So then after we did that, I was again freezing. Like I took my beanie off to like put it over my face as we were like going up the river because it's so fast and like it's so cold. So I had to put my beanie over my face. I was so cold this whole trip, honestly. Let's do a word count how many times I said cold. Then it gets even colder. We went out for dinner and we went to this beautiful, I should actually get the name of the place. It was delicious. Like, oh my God, it was so good. We got this sashimi meal, we got a pasta meal. We basically just got everything and shared it because we weren't ravenous. But it was so good and the staff were amazing and like beautiful view over the lake. Like it was just the best. We honestly ate like kings and queens over there. Then we stayed by the lake. I found this free camp and honestly, freedom camps in New Zealand are so good. And we used the app Campermate to find like the campgrounds, but also like dump points, fill up the water points, like literally everything. And we stayed by Lake Taupo and then you could see the mountain in the background. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the one ski area that they have on the North Island. And yeah, we camped by the lake for the night and it got down to 0 degrees. But in the camper van, it has a heater. So we actually weren't cold through the night. And then in the morning, I really wanted to get up and see the sunrise. So I woke up and it was so cold, count number 52. And the grass was like crispy, icy, like white, yeah, crunchy grass. And the lake was so beautiful. And I even seen a guy go swimming. Yeah, it was stunning. That was like definitely one of my favorite free camps that we did. And just like such beautiful scenery, like just to wake up right by the lake and like see all the mist on the lake and the snowy mountain in the background. And yeah, it was beautiful. So then that was our last day. And then we headed back to the airport and we handed back our car and that was all good. We also booked through Wilderness. So if you want to do the same, you can book through them. It's a really great price considering you get your accommodation and your car in the same price. So yeah, that has been my week. We've just been home for a couple of days. I have just taken the last couple of days to kind of catch up on washing and just, you know, I did a hair mask today, did my eyebrows, and yeah, I've just been working and getting this meditation course ready to go. If you are keen to get on to learn to meditate, I'm launching it really soon. I'm literally just figuring out the logistics, the computery back-end website things so that when you come into the course, it's all seamless and it's there. So if you're really wanting to learn to meditate, if you feel like there's a lot of stress in your life, overwhelm, overthinking, this course is going to be for you. You don't have to be a seasoned meditator. You can maybe have not even meditated at all. You might be just wanting some tool to help you through life's tough moments, but also to just connect to your intuition so you can live an aligned, beautiful, healthy, and happy life. So if that sounds like you, keep watch, and I will let you know here on the podcast definitely when it's launched and where all the links are and everything to join. Yeah, so that's everything for my weekly wrap up. It's been amazing. I've absolutely just had the best week ever. Also, side note, kind of a random note, but interesting. My computer is new. I don't know if you can tell if it looks any different. I got a new MacBook. Now, my old MacBook, I bought in 2014. Do the math on that. It's 11 years old. And I have not had one problem with my MacBook. Honestly, it was amazing. And it's only been the last year where it's really started to slow down. It's basically like the thing is full. And when I spoke to the guy buying this new laptop, he was so shocked that I had had it for so long and that he wasn't even surprised that it was so full. So I have a new MacBook. And now my last MacBook I bought it at the Perth International Airport because I was going to Europe and I wanted to start this. I had a travel blog. I don't know if anyone remembers, but I had a travel blog that I used to write. So I bought a laptop before I moved to Europe. So what did I do at the International's Airport in Brisbane? I bought this laptop. And I'm so excited just to have this new laptop. It's so fast. I had forgotten how fast computers can be because my little old gal was going so slow and she just has so much more to her. So I'm really excited. I hope the camera's better. And yeah, I just want to tell you that because I just thought it was so funny that I had had a laptop for 11 years. And I actually got the extended warranty on this because I have a friend who has 3 MacBooks that are all not working and not worth even getting fixed. So I'm like, right, I'm getting the extended warranty because I feel like things just aren't made to keep. So there's that. Anyway, that's the end of my weekly wrap up. Let's dive into today's intention. Okay, so today's intention or this week's intention is to notice your limiting beliefs and question them. So sometimes we realize that we are having a thought that's quite negative or it's old or it stems from something that happened years ago or whatever. We have to start questioning those limiting beliefs because it's often they're just stories and we don't have to live from that perception anymore. So this week, let's notice our limiting beliefs and question them. Does this have to be true for me? The answer is often no. So it's a really great question. And I think I actually heard this from a podcast. And the only podcast I've been listening to lately is Hilary McVeigh. So it's probably from her. But to just question our limiting beliefs and ask, does this have to be true for me? Because we are the creators and whatever we think, we create. So let's start thinking things that we actually want to create in our life. Let's dive into today's topic. Obviously, this all interlinks with our weekly intention. So today I just want to riff on how I'm feeling really reignited after the holiday. Basically, it's just a soft, reflective riff about coming home from a holiday, feeling inspired and motivated after some time away. I think every time I travel, I get this clarity. I get this motivation, inspiration for life back home or just like in life in general, which I just think is so essential to life, like getting away from our normal day-to-day because we are creatures of habit. Humans love to do the same thing to stay comfortable, but that's just not where growth and goodness comes from. And I'm such a big believer of changing things up every now and then so you don't stay stuck in your rut or get bored or, you don't create in your life, like you just stay doing the same thing. So I really think holidays, trips away, nights away, camp trips, whatever it is, are so essential to, feeling inspired and motivated and just reflecting on ourselves and our life. Now, I'm not saying that before my holiday, I wasn't feeling motivated, inspired, and aligned. But travel just brings this extra sense of all of that. And I think it's partially because one of my core values, which we spoke about in the last podcast, is travel, is adventure. And when I'm doing this, I am my best self. Now, for those that don't have that as a core value, and maybe your home and your surroundings is more of a core value, maybe you don't quite feel the same. Maybe you're after a holiday, you're just ready to get home and do the same thing. Whereas I'm quite different. And I'm sure there are people listening to this thinking, yep, Teags, that is exactly me as well. So I've been navigating this space, not in a heavy way, just in a really light, reflective way of questioning my limiting beliefs and noticing what was coming up for me while we were traveling and witnessing how other people live their life, witnessing myself, just reflecting, just having time away from life just to reflect. And I've been reflecting on what I want to build, do, dream up. And I just kind of noticed that I had some limiting beliefs in there that I didn't want there anymore. And when I'm away, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing this. I don't want to do that. Or, hey, I think this. I actually want to think this. Or I've manifested this. Wait, actually, I'd rather manifest this. So I'm just having this reflective bounce back and forth, figuring out really, truly what I then want to start doing, being, acting, manifesting. And I just kind of had this fresh awareness of my limiting beliefs. And I want to just also point out, I don't believe that our limiting beliefs completely stop. You never have any limiting beliefs ever again. What I think happens, because I think I've already dealt with this thing. I thought it was done. I thought I wouldn't need to deal with it again, but then it pops back up and then it pops back up again. And I think that what it is it's the universe, source, God, call it what you want, is helping to remind you to stay aligned. So say, for example, I want to create a life of adventure. The universe will show me little things to keep me aligned with that desire. It will show me where I'm unaligned to realign myself, to then make sure I'm staying strong on my core values, my boundaries, and my desires, right? So I think that these core wounds are there to then be triggered to bring us forward, to call us forward. And I do also think that we came here as, coming through in this human suit, and we have these lineage issues or beliefs that we need to resolve, something that happened from our ancestors. I do believe there's that as well, which I do think that we can move through and create more beautiful beliefs and stories around. But I think that something really important to talk about is that we will constantly be reminded of these things, and some will just go and you'll just have this new belief. And that will be great and you'll just hold that forever and ever. But there will be things that will pop up every now and then to keep you aligned, to remind you of what you truly desire and where you would like to go forward in life. And today I just wanted to speak purely just from the heart, and not because I've figured it all out, but because there's power in sharing this. Because again, like I mentioned, I think it was last week, how I said, as a coach, people put you on a pedestal and they think everything's perfect and we have everything figured out. But the thing is, we're still going through things. We just so happen to have tools that we use to move us forward, to call us forward, to make sure we're staying aligned and still happy and healthy at the end of the day. There's nothing different between me and you. I just might have some different tools that help me move forward and not to get stuck in these things. So I just wanted to share openly and talk about basically limiting beliefs and how to call yourself forward to live an aligned life. Now, every holiday I'm filled with this inspiration, motivation. I get new ideas, I get new plans, new thoughts, and it just opens my mind to what else I can create in my own life. Because if I can see it, I can believe it, I can have it. If I can see other people doing it, it means I can have it as well. So I think that's a really great thing about traveling, is that you see it, you can then believe it. So I was just witnessing things that I do, patterns I have, thoughts that I was thinking, and just kind of, analyzing these things. And if you know me, I'm quite a deep thinker. Like if I'm quiet, I'm reflecting on this type of stuff. I'm not just like thinking about what happened this morning. Like I'm deeply reflecting on a trait that I have or a limiting belief I want to rewire. So I feel like when you're traveling, you get this clarity in just being. I think just being is so powerful rather than having to do things, having the expectation to do certain things. You know, in your day-to-day life, we have a lot to do, right? And when you're holidaying, you don't have those same responsibilities. Like you don't have to go to work, you don't have to do the dishes necessarily, or you're not making as many dishes. I don't know, the washing, I mean, it waited a whole week till I got home. You just don't have those like little mundane things in between. So you're quite free. And you're just being, right? You're just enjoying the hike. You're enjoying the company you're in. You're enjoying the new drive to a new place. Like you're just being, you're so present. And in these moments, then you're able to reflect, analyze, just ponder. And I love these moments. And I do this a lot anyway, but I feel like when you're on holiday, you have extra time and space to just be. Yeah, I just love witnessing, observing, and sort of being like a fly on the wall. So that's kind of what traveling feels like to me. And in all these in-between moments, you just get to think. I just feel like your brain is just opened when you travel. I feel like you're just open to so many more things that you then just start reflecting and thinking about all these things. So in this spaciousness, I came to this realization that I still have some limiting beliefs that I've previously worked on, but they're coming back up in a different sort of, what it is actually is what I think it is, you know that saying new level, new devil? So once you up level, you have a new thing that you need to work through. And I think sometimes it's not necessarily new level, new devil. Sometimes I think it's new level, same devil. And it's the same thing that you're working on, that you've probably already worked on to get you to the level that you're at. And I think that when you are doing this personal development, you get better at then going to the next level. And I'm not saying that it gets easier because you're still up leveling, you're still transforming, you're still evolving. Like it's not easy. Otherwise everyone would be optimal human beings living this beautiful, happy life where there'd be just peace and love. Yeah. So once we reach a new level, it doesn't necessarily get easier, but like I said before, that we have these tools to move us forward. So I feel like things become easier. And for myself, I notice my limiting belief faster. Like it will be reflected to me straight away in someone, a situation or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I have a limiting belief. It's still there, or it's a new one, or it's something newly discovered. So then I know kind of what to do to work on them, to call myself out and bring myself forward and evolve. Traveling made me realize how much I truly desire freedom. And I realized how much I hold myself back from this. Which you're probably thinking, Tegan, you travel all the time. Part of your work is travel. And you've just moved states and you just got back from New Zealand and you went to 4 Pacific Islands in the last 12 months. Like, how are you holding yourself back from having this desire of freedom and adventure? So if you think about it, new level, new devil, I never used to have work that would fly me overseas to work, right? So I used to try and manifest work where I worked overseas. And I had to get rid of these limiting beliefs that it wasn't possible for me. People wouldn't pay for it, or I would have to pay for it. It'd be expensive. I'm not qualified enough, whatever these stories were, right? So those were my limiting beliefs. I had to work on them. Then I ended up manifesting work where I get paid to be flown overseas and work. And which is incredible, and I love it. And now I just have the next level that I'm going to. And I have these limiting thoughts that are coming back where it's, you're not skilled enough. It could be expensive, or where's money going to come from? Or you're 32 now, you should probably settle down, buy a house. So I have all these deconditioning parts to do and to rewire so then I can go to the next level. And I think it's just really powerful for me to share that, because it's an evolution of the same limiting beliefs that have been worked on, but they're evolving, right? So if you think about just the limiting belief that I thought I wasn't qualified enough to have work overseas, or, it wasn't possible for me, and then I worked on that limiting belief that it wasn't possible for me to then have got it. So now I just need to evolve to go to the next stage of what I'm trying to manifest. So it's all an evolution, and I just kind of really noticed this within myself. And I knew that I was having this thought of buying the house and settling down, because actually we were about to buy a house, and I was going to talk about it, but we ended up withdrawing our application because Ziggy passed away and our circumstances have just changed. So we actually ended up not getting the house. And it's funny because in that moment, I wanted it so bad, because I thought it would be cool to have a house over east and to settle down, call something my own. But at the end of the day, that is just a unconscious thought in my mind of something I feel like I have to do. It would make sense to my friends and my family if I bought a house and settled down at 32 with my partner, eventually had kids, got married, Like, that's what makes sense for a 32-year-old. But for me, deep in my soul, it's just not what I want. But I'm having this fight with myself at the moment where I'm like, I'm 32, probably should buy a house. Well, let me know if you are also in my age bracket and having this thought, because I think so many of my friends have houses, they're either planning to have babies or trying, they're pregnant, they've had a baby, or they're onto their second baby. Do I have any friends with 3 kids? I don't think so. And lots of my friends are married and have houses, or they're engaged. And even people younger than me have all these things as well. And I have this unconscious thing that happens in the background where I think I need to do that. And then when I really, really think about it, like if I even think about wanting to have a wedding, I actually don't want that. And like, never say never to all of these things. Like, I know eventually I will have a house. I will want to buy a house and have a home base. Like, I know that's coming because I'm starting to sort of feel it. But deep in my soul, I crave location freedom. I love travel, adventure, freedom in that sense. And that is why I have moved around basically every 12 months for the last 13 years. Like, I love seeing the world and living in different places. I'm not for holidaying once a year to go to a place to escape the place that I live. Like, I'm living in the place I want to live, and then I'm going to discover a new place and want to go live there as well. So I really noticed myself having this battle and this reflection while we're away of being like, I really want to have a home base. I should have a home base, but I really want to travel. And then I'm like, well, I need to create a business that is even more abundant so I can travel more and have the house as well. And I can still travel and be adventurous, but still have a home base eventually when I want it. And I just kind of realized that I was really holding myself back in the sense of, preparing to buy for a house versus planning to, move again. So I've just been building this new image and these new thoughts around what I actually truly want. And I think I'm coming into this reflection, one, because I traveled with Zach, because the last few trips I've been doing for work. And I did go to Indo as well, but I don't know, I think we were just quite new here, so I didn't have this reflection. But I was just noticing how much I was comparing, being like, do I want a house? Do I want to keep traveling? Do I want a house? Blah, blah. So I was reflecting and I was thinking, I think I'm only just having these thoughts now. One, because I'm 32 and I would love to have kids one day. And obviously a woman's time for kids, there's a certain age bracket. And I do believe that we can have kids a lot later in life than what was once believed. I do believe that. But I also do have this desire to have kids while I'm still young. And young, call it what you want, believe what you believe is young. So, yeah, I've been having these thoughts because of my age, but also for the last 4 years, especially, I'd just been planning to come to Queensland, just sort of manifesting this. So now we've been in Queensland for a year and a half or whatever it is. I've just been enjoying the fact that I'm finally here and loving it. So now I'm coming to the phase where I'm like, what's next? Where's Tegan going to go next? And is it a house to buy for us, or is it more travel and adventure, or is it both? So yeah, now I'm just kind of reflecting and figuring out what the next step is. And I just thought this would be really cool to talk about, because as a 32-year-old, it's not, I'd say it's less common to be adventuring, moving, traveling when you're this age compared to what the majority of people are doing, is having kids, settling down and being married. So if you're in this age bracket, you're not alone, and we're in this together, figuring it out. So yeah, I've been creating this, I journaled yesterday and was writing some new beliefs that I want to have, that I really can have it all. And I know you can have it all, but there's that subconscious thing in the background that I don't know if it's possible because I've not had it before. But I still have that inner desire and knowing that I can have it. I just have to prove it to myself. I just have to keep showing up with that same goal, desire, staying on track and mastering my mind to make sure that I'm not, causing havoc up here or going off other people's beliefs, society, unconscious thought stories, whatever, and truly listening to what I want, desire, and what will bring me fulfillment. And I think sometimes when we don't have the proof, it's hard to show up and it's hard to continually have that knowing that you really can have it all. Until then, there's like the proof in the pudding, right? But I just like to look outside of me to go, well, she has it, I can have it. He's got this, that means I can do it. She has the same business and she travels and she has a house. Well, I can do that too. And it's just having that as the proof rather than me having the proof. Like, I have proof I can move states like that because I've done it. I've moved to Europe. Like, moving, I know I can do it. Of course, it can take time, but I know I can do it. The proof is there. Now, even when I didn't have my first PT business, I didn't know it was possible for me, but I had so many people around me, at the fitness school, that were doing it. So I was like, cool, I can do it. Then once I proved to myself that I could have a PT business, then I moved online. And at that time, I did not know anyone in my family or friends that had an online business. I literally just used people online as my proof. I was like, if they've got it, I can do it. So then I went online. Now what I'm manifesting is having the online business, having it abundant, and traveling, and having a house. So now because I also don't know, I don't have immediate friends or family that have an online business who travel for work and who have a home of their own. I actually don't have anyone in my circle that are doing those three things. So I'm using people outside of me. So I have friends on Instagram, I call them. I know some of them, but some we just DM, and they are doing and have what I want to manifest as well. So I use them as the proof, and the knowing that if they can do it, I can do it as well, and I can have it. And it's knowing that, like, people might be listening to this thinking, whoa, Tegan, like, you really want it all, or like you can't have it all, or I don't know, whatever, maybe it triggers you, me desiring all this, or maybe you have the belief that you should just settle down at this age, or you can't travel and have a house because the mortgage is too expensive, and all these like limiting beliefs. Like, I don't want that. I want only the abundant thoughts to come in, because I know people that do have it and they're doing well, and I know that I can have that as well. And I want to use that as the proof rather than not believing in myself that I can't do it, because you can definitely take yourself down that track. And I definitely have before. Like, I've thought, you know, they're better than me, they're a better coach than me, they're luckier than me, people like them more than me, they're cooler than me, they speak better than me. Like, literally whatever story, I've definitely had it before. But now I like to use them as expanders. If you listen to the podcast To Be Magnetic by Lacey Phillips, they say that we have to see it to believe it. So we use expanders, who are people doing the thing that we want to do, to call ourselves forward. So yeah, I've kind of been working on those limiting beliefs and rewriting my thoughts around what I actually do want, and to not hold myself back from all of the things that I want, because I don't have to choose one pathway. I don't have to choose settle down, have kids, buy a house, or travel and adventure, have fun. Like, I actually can have both, and I will. Watch me. And it's so available to all of us. But I know that I've been in the limiting mindset before, where, like I just said, where I just thought it wasn't for me, and maybe you're thinking the same. But find expanders who expand your way of thinking and prove to you that it is possible. So yeah, I've just been noticing those societal pressures that are just like hanging out in the background, or me unconsciously trying to make my mum and dad happy, or like my nana happy, who always asks when I'm going to settle down. I'm so sick of answering the question. So I'm trying to make sure that those limiting beliefs and stories are just not a thing. Like, I can have everything that I want to, and I will make that happen. When? I don't know. I can't tell you. I just know that it will happen, because I believe that if I can see other people doing it, I can have it. And if that's my true desire, if that is actually truly what I want, and that feels aligned for me individually, I can have it. Because I'm such a big believer that all the goals that we have internally, like all the things that we desire, like truly desire, like, it's not for trying to prove, it's not for societal pressures, parents' pressure, or expectations. It's this deep knowing and desire that you have within yourself. I know for a fact that that is meant to be brought out into the world, and for you to live that life. Because if you can think it, and if you're thinking that you want it, then it's already yours. You just have to do the right things to get there. So that's currently what I'm trying to do, is do all the right things to get me there. And I just want to make sure that my thoughts aren't on autopilot. Like, I'm consciously creating. And that's what I always like to say. Like, I'm consciously creating my life, day by day, step by step, action by action. Everything has a purpose to get me forward into that future version of me. Like, I might be looking at houses to buy that are, you know, a few hours south, or wherever we're looking to buy. I might be looking there, but I'm also looking for the next adventure. I'm also looking for the next thing I could do in my business. I'm also looking for the next circle of friends that I could go hang out with and build more connections and friendships there. Like, I'm doing everything with a purpose to make sure I manifest that next level of my life. Because otherwise we'll just stay here forever, and we'll just die feeling unfulfilled. And that just terrifies me, to be honest. Like, if I was to stay, even in this house, like, it's the most beautiful house. We live like a minute walk from the beach, can hear the ocean. we live in a village. It's tiny. I know majority of the people that live here. It's like beautiful weather most of the time. Like, people are probably thinking, Tegan, you have it so good. But if I stayed here for the rest of my life, I would die so unhappy. Like, I just need so much more. I need the business. I need the travel. I need the big community. Like, I just need it and I want it. So I'm creating it. And I think I should wrap this podcast up because I feel like I'm going around in circles just talking about the same thing, because I could honestly just riff on this all day. But basically, I'm meeting this resistance with love and just with an open mind, and knowing that I can change the way that I think. And it's such a big part in creating the life that I want to live. The first thing that I did as soon as I realized that I had this limiting belief that I was limiting myself of all this freedom, I just kind of pondered it and wondered where it came from. I wondered where it stemmed from, how it was showing up in my life, how I was living from that limiting belief, and kind of got clear there. And then I journaled what I was currently thinking, what my limiting belief was, where it was coming from, what it was stemmed from, how it was making me feel. And then I rewrote it in how I actually want to feel, live, be, do, have, all of those things. And then as I'm writing that, I'm feeling so good. And I will come back and like read that over and over just to kind of like instill that in my brain. I'll journal over the next couple of weeks, whatever, to really instill that thought into my brain to make sure that I have, deconditioned all that stuff that was still reoccurring in my mind, and reconditioning what I actually want to think, believe, manifest, and have. So that's kind of all that I do. I understand where it's coming from, where I'm at, and then I figure out where I want to go and what I actually want to believe, because your thoughts are yours to have, and it's what you create in your life, in your physical life. What you think is what you'll create. So I'm just making sure that I'm thinking what I actually want to create, and then I'm doing and being it, and I'm embodying that, and then I'm taking inspired action to move the pedestal into that next level of whatever it looks like for me. And I also wanted to kind of mention, I think if you're listening to this, like, it might feel like, oh, Tegan's going like crazy, she's going all in, or whatever, like all these big things are about to change. That's not actually how I work. I'm not an A-type person. I'm definitely a doer, but I do things like quite quietly, like just small things happen over time to make this change. So I'm just taking small aligned actions every single day. And it's literally just things like visualizing, journaling, looking at my to-do list for the year, my vision board, checking in with, like, at the end of the day, am I aligned? What could I have done differently today? And checking in with any other limiting beliefs. I'm just doing things so small you wouldn't even notice on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, it's all just happening day by day, step by step, moment to moment. And I'm just making sure I'm staying aligned and consciously creating my life. So creating this clarity doesn't mean it has to be a sprint to the next. So yeah, it doesn't mean that I'm going to go out and like sprint this race to the next version of me, because it's honestly just not how I work, but I just don't think that's how it happens. Like, good things honestly do take time, and it's just this like quiet devotion that I have to myself and my life that I want to create. So it doesn't mean that you have to go and sprint the race. You can just go day by day, slowly doing action step by action step to get to where you want to be. So that brings us to the end of this riff. And if this has ignited you in any way, inspired you, maybe triggered you, let me know over on Instagram and tell me what your current limiting belief is that you're working on, because I think once we speak it out loud, it helps us move forward. It helps us really recognize that limiting belief. And honestly, I've probably had the thought myself as well. So come over onto my DMs at teagsley.com and we can have a chat about what your limiting belief is at the moment, and we can work through that. I have a question. What is everyone trying to rebuild? What are you currently working on? What's your current subconscious thought that you're rewiring? tell me. I would love to know. I think it's important to know that it's okay to be in process, but it's also okay to like sit back and not be processing, because this work never ends and you're never going to reach this destination of perfection. So just keep doing what's aligned and what feels inspiring to you, and you'll just stay on the right track. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh no, she's just lucky, or she's come from money, or she's got a partner, or you can just do that because you work online. Like, if you're thinking these limiting beliefs, I challenge you to challenge those thoughts, because whatever you want, you can have. You just have to do the right things and the right action steps forward to get that. And just know that you deserve so much, and probably more than what you currently allow yourself to have. So go out, dream big, and dream bigger than what you allow yourself to imagine that you can have. Dream bigger than that, and just go out there and get it, make it happen. So I'm going to leave you here. So until next week, enjoy your life, do things that make your heart happy, and shine in your authenticity. Bye.